We're recording.
Welcome to the Joseph Vivaldi Network, the Joseph Love and Sierra Bliss Show.
Sierra Bliss, Joseph, Joe Love.
Oh, okay, Sierra Bliss, Joe Love Show. Welcome to our show. My name is Sierra Bliss, and
I'm Joe Love. We've ran this. How many times we're gonna get this right this time?
Yes, we're gonna get this right. Welcome to our show. Today we're going to talk about different topics. This show is about everything and anything. It has to do with everything from politics to self-help to psychology to practical things of everyday life to all those different things and more. And we want to welcome you to learn more about our life in general also.
I'm Joe Love. I'm Sierra Bliss's sidekick. She's the host.
Oh, great. Thank you. Okay, so now let's talk about a little bit about marketing. Today we're going to talk about everything that has to do with Christmas. We're going to start with marketing with different types of Christmas gifts. And let me start by saying you have to know who you're shopping for. It's so important to know who you are giving this gift to, what their interests are, what their needs are. The market has to do with the type of market, whether it's an adult market, a child market, a pet market, who you're shopping for. And so let's start off.
Pineapple market.
A pineapple market. Let's talk to Joe. He's going to start out by talking about the men's market today and different types of Christmas shopping with men's market.
Okay.
Go ahead, Joe. Take it away.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for that round of applause. I'm gonna discuss about gifts, Christmas, and some men ideas. See, men, different class of men. Men like sports. Men like sci-fi.
Yes.
Men like news. Politics. Some like religion. And, it's like, you get all these things. They even like hobbies like coins or trains. But, it's like...
It starts out when you're a kid, too.
It starts out when you're a kid. Let's just say, I remember my first Christmas. Like, not my first Christmas, but my first...
Real Christmas that you can remember.
Real excited Christmas. I remember I was opening up those LJN WWF wrestlers. I got many. I was so excited. I couldn't wait for one more, and I kept on opening and opening. I was a little kid, and I was very happy. And then there were Christmases where I got something from a relative, and I wasn't that happy about it.
Oh, yeah, one of those. Because they didn't know the market. They didn't know your interest. It was a relative that wasn't familiar. They were thinking practical.
Well, it's like, it's not the person's fault. It's like, we get Christmases like that.
Yes.
And, we get Christmases where we're happy. We get Christmases where we're down. We get Christmases where we're the oddballs.
It's what you make of the holiday season also. It depends on what's going on in the world and what's going on in the different lives of the people, whether they're working or not, or if they're happy in their lives or not.
Exactly. If they're happy or they're not. And this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if they're not, this is what happens.
Help!
A thunderstorm, a plethora of, we've all had rough Christmases. But, we're not going to discuss about that aspect of Christmas and family and stuff like that.
My turn to talk about the women?
It's her turn to talk about the women. She could talk about the women. And I'm not the host. I'm the co-host. I'm the anchor, and this is the host. So let's hear Bliss run.
Okay, I'm back, guys. Welcome again back to the show.
Sometimes I forget my role, but
No, he's part of the show. He's a big part of the show. It's his podcast too.
yes, it is. But
okay, so
she's the host.
I'm gonna go back to talking about what am I talking about? Women.
Women. What do women want? I think there was a movie about that.
What women want? What women want? Yes.
And Mel Gibson is not getting the gifts for the women. I mean, it's what do women want for Christmas?
Women want a man that could work hard for them.
They work hard for the money. They work hard for the money.
No, on a serious note, women want simple gifts, like everything from like a shopping gift certificate to get clothes or shopping get their hair done or their eyebrows done or their nails done. They can want things like anything from books to eating out gift certificates to shopping gift certificates to the supermarket. It depends on what age group you're talking to too. You have to think of the age group because younger women want different things than an older woman would want. Some women are married, some women are single. You got to think of those things too because some women all come in different types of parts of things too, where they're different ages and backgrounds and
demographic area and
exactly. Some live in the country, some live in the city. Some women want Uber Eats compared to a woman that has a car out in the country that's driving in North Carolina or somewhere like that where they can drive themselves to get what they want.
Or Boise, Idaho.
You never know.
You can't forget about them too.
Yes, they want potatoes.
I think they have potatoes. Milwaukee,
Wisconsin, cheese for them.
But I'm saying, everybody
wants to rule the world.
Everybody wants, something for Christmas. And, it's like you want to get that perfect gift. But what happens if you don't give them the perfect gift?
Well, that's another thing I learned in an anxiety, this is I'm plugging in a little self-help here. I learned in a anxiety class that I took one time about, it's not about perfectionism when you're shopping either. It's not about being perfect. If they don't like the gift, then that's on them. You did it out of your heart, the goodness of your heart, and you were thoughtful, and you thought about the person and what they wanted, and you tried your best. Ultimately, not everybody's going to know the person as well as they think they're going to know. Unless they're like super, super close. But ultimately, it's not a matter of... That's not why we celebrate the season either. We can go change this topic totally to another topic. We can move on to the reason for the season.
As a matter of fact, that's a very good idea. I think it's time to go for a break.
Okay, let's do it.
He was praying for a miracle in his life. He had been poor and wanted a better life than he had been living. He knew it was going to be another Christmas coming up, and it was the day before Thanksgiving. He was about to leave, and then he bumped into Chris. Joseph said, "Ouch." Chris said, "Keep your head up. You might miss something." "I think I am. It's the holidays again, and I'm in more debt than before. I don't have any hours at work, and my books aren't selling." Chris says, I'm granting you 3 wishes, and they will be granted Christmas Day. You'll be amazed how much your life would change." Joseph said, doubting Chris's words, "I don't believe it will. You're joking." "I'm dead serious. Like Joseph witnessed on Christmas, the 3 wise men presented him with 3 gifts. Your name is entitled to these 3 wishes. One will be granted on Christmas Eve. The other 2 are on Christmas Day. And your hard work will pay off, despite how much you think. These wishes will make you feel like a child again. I ask you one gift to me, and that you will meet me every Sunday at the coffee house for 2 hours, your treat." Okay, if these wishes come true, then I'll be true to my part of the gift, even if I doubt it. What are your wishes? Joseph said, "You'll never guess what happened." Jen said, "What is it now?" Joseph said, "I ran into a guy who said he would grant me 3 wishes for Christmas. I don't believe it, though." "So you ran into a genie?" "Well, not exactly, but he said his name was Chris, and he said he wanted to meet me every Sunday leading up to Christmas." "And you're going to do it?" "It doesn't hurt unless my wishes won't be granted." "What did you wish for?" Joseph's father said, "I'll talk more to you later, but today is a day to be thankful. What are you thankful for, Joseph?" "I'm not sure there is one thing I'm thankful for this year. I had a crappy year."
That was Finding Christmas, the story of Joseph, written by Joseph Vivaldi, narrated by Adam Zenz. And back to the podcast.
Hi, welcome back to the Sierra Bliss and Joe Loves show. We are going to talk about safety.
Before anything, is there anything that you would like to plug?
I want to say that it's coming up in the next year. We're going to be bringing out a poetry book between. It's a poetry book by Joseph Vivaldi and Sarah Rowland Parker. No, just kidding. We're not going to give her her name right now. We're going to.
We are gonna. That's it for that. It's a private project. It's going to be worked on by then, when it gets released, we'll give you details. And also, I'm going to plug this group that Joseph Vivaldi belongs to, Joe's Writers Club. And Joe's Writers Club is a group where we help writers to better hone their craft in what they do, and the team helps develop their talent to become a better writer to follow through. And now we're going back to the podcast.
Welcome back. Don't mind my blooper. We're going to go on to talking about something on a serious note. It's time to talk about safety during this holiday season. Due to the COVID disease right now that's going on in the countries, it's so important to stay safe, think about your loved ones and wear a mask, like they say, social distance, it's important to protect each other through this time. You got to think about the reason for the season also. And a lot of people out there may be struggling, they may not have certain things, they may not have a tree up, or they may not have food on their table. Let's just think about that for a moment and take a moment of silence to observe for those people.
Okay. Well, I just want to say this for the season, and I know it's coming up, and I know you've heard a lot about wearing masks, 6 foot distance, or whatever, but I do want to say this. If you notice your family member is sick in any way, be vigilant and, just keep your distance. You don't want to hurt their feelings.
Don't be afraid to hurt their feelings.
Don't be afraid. Just say, I'm just, protecting, those that I care about, and
you can come up with an excuse not to, deal with it, but, most of all, you want to protect yourself, because you're no good to anybody else unless you're okay.
Yeah, because I've heard, seriously, on a serious note, I've heard news stories where somebody was just, being nice out of the kindness of their heart. They felt they were doing a good deed. Then they got infected with COVID, spread it to their father and mother, and they got ill. I think one person passed away from it, and they got it themselves. So it's like, I know we want to be nice, we want to be cordial, it's a matter of being safe. And that's what it is. It's safe and cautious, I would say.
Yes. On a lighter note, we're going to move on.
Okay. We're going to move on. What are we going to move on to?
We're going to move on to clutter.
Ah, yes. Clutter.
Uncluttering for the holidays.
Let me start to speak on this.
Okay, go ahead, Joe's Love.
And then you carry on. We are bombarded with a lot of crap.
I'd like to plug eBay real quick for this one. Go ahead.
Okay. We are bombarded with a lot of crap. We've been bombarded with a lot of crap since being a kid. If you're like me, a product of the 80s, we've accumulated. We were told we gotta, quote-unquote, keep up with the Joneses.
Yes.
And
the nuclear family.
What has happened with, as she mentioned, the nuclear family, a nuclear explosion of crap around the house.
Yes.
And a nuclear explosion of crap that we've got to get rid of. And now we're moving more into the whole
50 years worth. Just think of your parents accumulating their stuff. Back in the day, they started out, accumulating things over the years, and when it gets too much, for example, I'll share a little bit of my own experience. My parents accumulated so much stuff in the house, and now a family member and I are trying to, get rid of all this stuff out of my parents' house, and it's too much. It's a matter of collectors. You got to think about collectors. It's like nowadays, I love how people have less stuff in their house because, it's less clutter. It's easier to live in, and it's an easier space. But like back in those times, they were collecting so much stuff, and 50 years is a long time to have things in the house.
Yeah.
Now it's a matter of throwing things out. The big magic keyword here is throwing out. Garbage. Because, some things you can donate, some things you can sell. I'm going to plug eBay again. It's a great site to sell your collectibles. It
eBay,
really works.
Amazon.
Sometimes Facebook Marketplace, but Facebook Marketplace is tough. But, you can always try.
As a matter of fact, I was writing...
Another form of clutter.
No, actually, not me. Joseph Vivaldi was writing on this.
Want to talk about your projects, dear? It's a joke.
Yeah. I mean, he was writing on this on the book, but it's like an investment is, knowing how to keep your space. And it's like sometimes we get frustrated, sometimes we lose the battle, sometimes we win a little. But just think about this. I mean, I'm not perfect. By no means necessary, I should be preaching on, everything. But however, guess what?
Guess what, dear? I have to say to the crowd, okay, there's one thing that you have to work on.
What?
Decluttering all the different many projects that you're doing.
See,
at once. That's another form of clutter.
See, that's why I'm going to share. Joseph Vivaldi is going to share some of his projects. However, the clutter, I'm gonna mention the clutter. No means necessary. I'm perfect, but I should say I have a lot of clutter.
I have clutter too. Don't feel bad. Go ahead.
We're all average Joe Americans.
It just
we have
thinking
clutter.
like it melts your brain. It makes your brain so fuzzy inside and cluttered in your brain. You feel overwhelmed.
I mean, we're not like the families who are the who have everything pristine and everything neat and everything else. When chances
we're
are
close.
we try our best.
We try our best.
But it's just thinking. I would like to have everything that way, but it's like a matter of work, and that's what it is. It's work to sell.
It's another thing I'm going to plug. Joseph Vivaldi's new book on investment.
When it comes out.
It'll probably touch a little bit on the clutter part in the next topics that he's writing about. It's important to know what to get rid of. And it's so good to get those self-help books in the library or the bookstore. Ebook, audio book about how to declutter and get rid of things. That would be Sarah Rowland's next project when she decides to write something. She, after she's done with her fiction book, she's going to start writing a book on decluttering.
That's a very good idea.
It's her next goal.
It's a very good idea. Well, as a matter of fact, we have to wrap up this podcast, and it's Papa Love,
Yes.
the father of Joe Love, who is calling for him to get the pizza.
Yes. So we're gonna take a break now, and you'll follow up on the next podcast.
So we'll follow up on the next podcast. We're gonna run it with a commercial break, and we'll mention whatever the plug for this book. But in finishing, do you have any more plugs?
No.
Good. Until next time.
Introduction. For as long as we can remember, we grew up in families. Whether it was to our natural parents, foster parents, or it was our aunts and uncles who raised us, we were born into a family and a pecking order. This was our position and standing in the family. Some of us have dealt with our parents first. Some of us had to cope with the fact that there was a smaller member of the family, and some of us dealt with the fact that we had to deal with older members of the family. They were our siblings. Through this time, we develop into people we want to be. We have an idea of the job we want in life, and we have an idea of who we want to marry. Quote, birth order is widely recognized in individual psychology as a determinant of personality. Ashby, Locierco, and Kenny, 2003, page 43. We develop our certain paths by learning from our parents and our siblings. Even singletons go through the growing up process developing traits. Eventually, we learn to interpret where we stand in the family. According to Campbell et al., quote, psychological birth order is generally defined as the way a person perceives and interprets his or her position in the family constellation. Ashley, Locierco, and Kenny, 2003, page 44. This is where we gradually formulate ideas, and we grow them into our own. Oftentimes, this leads to conflict within the ranking of birth order. The next section will discuss how birth order develops in people. Introduction.
This is Birth Order, How the Roles of Each Sibling Are Placed at Birth, written by Joseph Evaldi, and is available on Audible, Amazon, too, and iTunes. This has been the Sierra Bliss and Joe Love Show. We talk about everything and anything. Have a good night.